Hello my friends and welcome back to another episode of Flutter Explained. Today we want to talk about how you can save and retrieve an image from a local database. For that we will save an image onto a local database and read it again, and if you wait and watch the video till the very end you will get also a tip on how to make your images very beautiful while they are loading. And now without further ado, let's jump into the video. If you have some spare time, and I am live, usually on YouTube or Twitch, where we work together on game development, where we work on databases, where we work with Dart and things like that, so you can learn from the mistake I am doing and I'm learning from the things you tell me during the live chat. Alright, and now hit the like button, subscribe to this channel if you haven't yet, and now start with saving some images into a database. Okay, to show you most of the value in this video, we will implement everything with two databases, one with Hive and one with EtherDB. All for that, I created all the different dependencies here, and we will, inside of our project, create an adapter pattern to switch between the both. You will see how it works, which was pretty cool. The only thing that you necessarily need is the image picker. Please make sure that you have also the generators in the dev dependencies for Ether or Hive implemented, else it could be that the project is not working for you. Alright, to get started, I already implemented quite a lot of stuff like pick images, read images from database. This is the usual Dart boilerplate, but I created already a future builder which will read our images from the database and show them in just in a list. And I have the pick image where we now implement a possibility in a floating action button to select an image from the gallery. Alright, but how we do that? We say image picker, and here we create a new image picker. So much image picker already. Okay, now let's import that one, and what we receive back is an X file. So an extended file, you could say. So it's something that the image picker gives to us. Now here we have the selection between pick image, pick multiple image, or pick video. We will choose just the image, and now we have to pass in the image source. The image source in our case is the gallery. Good. If we have that, now we just make a quick check. If the image is null, then we just return because we don't want to save that. On the last part is we want to convert our image that we selected into a uint8 list, or or how you call it, a byte array. In a byte array, we usually save information like a binary that our image represents, and that will be always a very large array with the numbers between 0 and 255, which is a representation of our image. Great. So now we have that implementation done already. We got our image bytes, which is the first step. We converted the X file into our uint8 list, which we then can save and store in our databases, which will be our next step. So what we can do is removing one to do and getting this, where we call the store image, inside of here so that we know where it belongs. In order to abstract a little bit the databases that we are using and don't pollute main necessarily with the information, we have created the database adapter. And this database adapter will be just a class, an abstract class that has the methods inside that we want to use in the main function. So we created abstract class, which has future void store image, which receives a uint8 list. We call that image bytes. And that is the first function, and the second one is a future that returns us a uint8 list. And we say get images. So we will start now with the Hive implementation because I made that very basic so that you understand what we are doing, while the EtherDB implementation is a bit more advanced, so that is more project ready. So let's jump into the Hive service, and here we have a class Hive service, and we extend from the database adapter. So now it will complain that we have to implement two missing overrides. And you remember these methods we implement or set inside of our abstract class that we want to have that. So we extended from the database adapter, and now we will have to implement these two things. So we start with the store image because that's still where we are, right? We got the uint8 list, now we want to store it somehow. So let's get into it. First, we want to have an empty list with all the images, because what I want is getting all the images back from the database, take it, the new image into it and store it down. As I said, it's not very performant, but that is not the case. I just want to show you in a very quick and easy way how you can store these images in the database. Now we are opening a box with await, so it's an asynchronous function where we say hive.openBox and pass in a box name. In our case, it's image box. Very simple. So probably have to import the Hive. Yep, perfect. Hive Flutter. Fantastic, that's there. And now we have to say that because what we receive from that is a dynamic list. So we get all images that are from box get, and we get that from images. Great. So now we got dynamics, but that doesn't help us a lot, right? Because we want uint8 lists. So we have to check if that is not null. And if they are not null, now we have to convert them. And how we do that is we get all, we add them all to the image list that we have above. And for that we say all images dot cast. And now we say what type it actually is. So be careful, this is a bit dirty, as I want to say, because with that we directly move all these dynamic things into a different type. It cannot be called unconditionally. That's weird because, okay, I forgot an S. Great. So now with that, we have that if statement ready. And if that is there, then we want to add our image bytes. So this is the image that we have selected beforehand. Now at the end, we just put all the images back into our box. Simple enough. And we can remove that. And with that, we are ready to store our image. Okay, but now on the other side, we also want to implement that we receive the images. For that, we say var box await hive.openBox again. We open the box image box. And from here on, we get our list of dynamic again. And add the asynchronous modifier where we say result box.get and images. All right. And now what we want to return is the result get casted inside of uint8 list. Voila. And that's probably it. So we have the possibility to get the images and we have the possibility to store them. We can remove that. And one last thing that we have to do inside of our main function is, of course, to initialize Hive. And I did that already. So you can find inside of the main function hive.initFlutter. And with that, we are done to use the tool. Great. So if we have that, let's check out in the main function our two methods, pick image and read images from database. So thanks to our adapter, the last part is pretty easy. We just have to go into this to-do here inside of the state and say that we have a database adapter that we call adapter in our case. And here we implement our Hive service into it. So also not the best naming, but you can search for a better one. And inside here in the pick image, we then say store image and pass in our image bytes. And with that, we are done. And the same thing for the read images. We can use our adapter and say get images and done. We have to return it, of course. Zack, and all good. So with that, our implementation is ready. All right, so now let's see how the application looked like. So we can see if we started and we have nothing saved in the store, we see nothing to show. If I press the plus button, we will get redirected into the gallery where I already uploaded 2 images into the emulator. In our case, I can upload, for example, this nice little dinosaur, and we don't see anything. The reason is we don't have a reload state at the moment. So what I can do is just hot reload, and if we hot reload the whole application, we will see in a second the image. Great. So after the hot restart, we can see the image now, and I can also add the Homer here. And if we hot restart once more, we should be able to see the good old Homer Simpsons down here. So takes a second and here we go. All right. So with that, we got the two images. Now for ESA, we have to switch to the image entity so that we can define how our data structure will look like. So we create a class image entity, and inside of here we will have an add ID, which is a late int ID, and we will have our uint8 list, which is our byte array from our image. So bytes like that. And we know that this one is a called collection. And with that, we know that this should work. Perfect, fine. What's wrong with this? Ah, yeah, it's not late. Good, fair enough. So this image entity will contain our image bytes and will have an ID. Now we have to switch to the ESA service and work further on that one. All right, to implement our ESA service, we have to create a class ESA service and we extend from the database adapter. Now with that, we will have to override the two missing imports, which we have done now. Perfect. And what we also need is we have to open the database, and what we will do, or we will do that first. So we create a late future where we want to receive ESA back as a thing, and we just call it ESA. So let's import the library and let's create a static future ESA method where we open the database. And that is asynchronous, where we have final directory. We need for that the path provider, which you can see is already added inside of the pubspec.yaml, and we need a support directory. Great. With that, we can now say ESA.open, and it's nearly the same like opening a box where we input the schemas. We currently don't have a schema. We do that later when we create our generated files inside of our entity. All right, so with that, we have opened the database and we can now wait for this inside of our constructor. So what we do is ESA service, and here inside we just say ESA equals OpenDB. Great. Because this is a future and this is a future, everything is fine. So every method can now wait for the ESA client to work. And then we have our get images, which is pretty easy to implement. So first we want to get a DB where we await for ESA to resolve. If this case is happening, we can make this method asynchronous. Perfect. And if this happens, we just want to save final images where we get all the images. And for that, we wait for the DB. And the problem is now that we don't have an entity. So now is the best time to create them. In order to create our entity generated files, we have to switch to image entity, and inside of here we have to pass in the part file so that our Flutter build runner will know where to generate the file. And now it will take a second, and afterwards you will find underneath of entities the image entity.g.dart. If you have never seen that before, check out the video that I will link where I talk more in depth about ESADB. So let's see how we can implement this in a second. Now we have generated our G file inside of here and we want to use that in get images. For that, we just do the following. We go ESADB equals await ESA. We did that already, you remember. And then we say final images equal await for the database. And here we get the image entities now. That is because of the schema that we have. Inside of here, we have to say where and find all. One additional thing we have to do inside of this schema thing, we have to say image entity.schema and add them here. Great stuff. So now we get all the images, and here we can now return images.map where we receive an image, and this image is now an image entity actually, and we want to pass back an image bytes. Image bytes. Great, and we want to cast that to a list, and with that we return the correct thing. Great stuff, and with that we have implemented the get images part. So, and for the store image we are nearly the same. So we receive an image where we have to create an image entity, and now here inside the image bytes are the image bytes. Great stuff. And now we have created this image. Now the next step is just to wait again for the ESADB, which is ESADB equals await ESA. Same procedure, so this is asynchronous. Fair enough, that works. And now we can say db.write txn. We receive back an ESA, which we can make async. And inside of here we say image.id. Yes, perfect.
And this ID is await isa.imageentities.put, and here we pass in the image itself. Fair enough. With that, we have done that, and job's done. We have stored the image, and with that, we have saved it. Now let's see in the application if it still works the same. All right, because we have not implemented ISA before, we can see nothing to show. If we press the plus button again, we get the same thing. Ooh, where are my images? Done on loads, okay. And now we have the same problem again, right? No hot restart. If you want to get rid of this problem, you can, instead of using a get or something, we can also use the watch functionality, for example, for IsaDB. We have done that, I think, in the tutorial for IsaDB, up in the link. And what you also can do is this image, and if we hot restart, we will see both, hopefully. 1, 2, 3, nothing to show, loaded, done. If you are interested in how to get rid of the loading and intermediate state, I will put a trick in the end of the video.
Fantastic! Now we know how we can send an image into our local database and retrieve it back from it. But that's not enough for us. We want to make the user experience for our users even better, so let's get into the trick.
Hey, great that you made it till the end. Here is the trick that I wanted to show you. If you want to reduce the loading time of images or show your users something, well, slightly better than an empty screen or a placeholder or something, for images there is the Flutter Blur Hash. It's a package where you can create little strings that you can read from the database and reduce the time to get something visible. This is extremely useful if you have, for example, an image that comes from Firebase. I already created a video for that, and up in the info box you will find how exactly you can implement it. If you have any questions regarding to that, leave it down in the comments below. Thanks for watching. Till the next time. Bye.